I want to take another moment and review an email that I got from Mike Cohn. This one's a little bit older, but I love the email, so I wanted to make sure that I got it out to you. It talks about poor estimates prevent stakeholders from viewing the team as equal, and it talks about the surprising cost of bad estimates. I guess that's the subject of the article. So, bad plans lead to many well known problems. Teams deliver later than expected, or the budget is blown by adding people in the hope that it will help. Sometimes a deadline is met, but by dropping important features, or the deadline is met by team members working overtime or weekends, causing burnout, frustration, and usually introducing defects or bugs. Inaccurate plans frustrate both team members and stakeholders. So, one of the worst and perhaps most overlooked impacts of a poor project plan is that the team loses credibility with the stakeholders. As an example of how poor planning affects credibility, I've got a friend whom I'll occasionally meet for lunch. He's always 5 to 10 minutes late. If he emails me today and suggests meeting at noon, I'm going to arrive 5 minutes late myself just to make it less uncomfortable for him. I no longer trust him to be on time. His plans are just not reliable. And that's okay because it's just lunch. It's not a big deal. But the credibility gap caused by unreliable plans is much worse on projects. Consider a team that's either consistently late or always has to drop scope in order to meet a deadline. The project stakeholders ask the team if they can deliver a new project in 3 months. Team members think about it and decide they can deliver it in 3 months, but could do it in 4 months. Or they say they can't deliver it in 3 months, but can do it in 4 months. When the team members tell the stakeholders they need the extra month, the stakeholders don't believe them. Why should they? The team has been consistently wrong on all prior projects. At this point, stakeholders may tell the team, do it in 3 months anyway, and why not? What do they have to lose? If a team never meets its stated deadlines, stakeholders may reason that they'll stick with the 3 month deadline and apply some pressure, which has limited effectiveness. And like me with my friend, they might also quietly expect it to be done later in perhaps 4 months. So let's pause here. This is this is an interesting play. Mike, I see this all the time. And I'm going to boil it down to this. I tell people all the time in every one of my classes, especially my product owner classes, that predictability is king. Predictability is more important than anything else you can do, right? I mean, delivering high quality products and services, don't get me wrong, that's still the pinnacle. But if you can be predictable, leadership will give their left arm for predictability. And I think that when you're looking at predictability, there's a difference between trying to be too exact and trying to give forecasts that are reliably accurate. And the one thing that I love to bring up is talking about story points, where I say that teams, I would rather a team take on one less story each sprint and deliver everything that they commit to than take on too many stories and constantly split and carry work from one sprint to another. This way, they can build credibility and reliability with the stakeholders because the stakeholders will know exactly what the team really is capable of delivering. And if for some reason a team finishes early, they can get a head start on the first item in the next sprint, thereby not pulling items into the sprint and ending up having to split them and showing that they're not reliably getting things done. So interesting. Let's see where you take it. So here's the bottom line. Stakeholders will not treat a team as an equal partner if the team consistently provides bad plans and inaccurate estimates. Credibility is such an important factor that I included as the first of 4 reasons Agile teams estimate product backlog items in the first place. Consider how things would have played out differently if the team instead had established a track record of providing decent plans. Note, I said decent. Plans don't have to be perfect to be reliable. Mike Cohn, I love you. There we go. That's exactly what I just said. So, touchdown, Mike. W Mike in the chat, right? This is perfect. When a consistently decent team tells stakeholders a project will take an extra month, stakeholders are likely to engage in a conversation about options to meet the desired earlier deadline if necessary. Would it help to enlarge the team? Is there a feature or two that could be dropped to get it out? Would it help if team members were allowed to focus solely on this product or project instead of also supporting some other things and splitting their whip? When a team has a track record of presenting reasonably accurate plans, they will be treated as equal partners by the rest of the organization. Hallelujah. It's about time somebody said this. Many teams try to solve the problem of inaccurate plans by padding their next plans, and that usually makes things worse because now, right, the team, they have two things to consider with the estimate: the plan and how much to pad the plan. And that never puts you in a good space, right? When stakeholders call on a team, and when stakeholders call a team out on padding the plan, The padding is often removed unless team members can present solid logic and evidence for the size of the padding and what they were trying to do. I'm telling you right now, padding or boxing, it's just not good. If you're going to shoebox, you should a suitcase rather. If you're going to suitcase this, you shouldn't be suitcasing anyway. But padding is just a bad idea in general. Instead, understand why your plans have been wrong to begin with. A better solution would be for the team to formulate and assess why their plans have consistently been wrong. Sometimes the problem is due to poor agile estimation. If that's the case, there are many things the team can do to improve their estimates of story size. The one technique that's especially helpful for teams who chronically underestimate the amount of work delivered or involved in a particular product backlog is called unpacking. Unpacking involves all of the subparts for some of the work to be done. So I need to do my laundry today. I can unpack doing my laundry to be wash, dry, and put away the clothes. If needed, I can unpack putting my laundry away into folding some items and hanging some items. Agile teams can unpack large product backlog items into smaller product backlog items, i.e., breaking them down, and they can unpack small backlog items into tasks they'll perform to complete the item if needed. Having split work into smaller pieces prior to getting started working on them, most teams will next estimate those smaller pieces. However, research has shown that estimating small things and then summing those estimates can lead to even worse estimates. So you don't want to try to sum things together. So instead of estimating the smaller pieces, unpacking involves identifying the components of the work, but then estimating at the original larger level. That makes sense. Research has shown that unpacking items this way will lead to larger estimates. For teams who chronically underestimate, this is a valuable way and an easy way to get better estimates. For me, I stick with the t-shirt size method, and we've talked a lot about this, the painting the wall example, and we go down that path, and it usually works really, really well. Unpacking is one of many ways that a team can improve its estimates, but some teams actually estimate most items fairly well, but still deliver late. How can this be? The backlog's bigger than the team thinks. This is one of the number one reasons even agile projects are late. Mike discusses, the 4 reasons products grow beyond their initial estimates, including something he calls the unknown backlog. The unknown backlog contains all the work that the team will need to do, but hasn't yet been defined. This is where my concept of the red light, green light report comes in, where you can have things that are marked red light that they're definitely not going to be delivered, other things that sit in that yellow risk section, and some things that are green lighted and known to be done, right? And if we can update this as emergent requirements come, it's going to be easy for everyone to have full transparency about what could possibly be delivered. So this includes things the team hadn't thought about yet. It also includes emergent requirements. Emergent requirements are needs that emerge through the process of building a product. Stakeholders are shown a preliminary version, and that gives them new ideas. In many cases, those new ideas become their must-have features. So it would be impossible for the team to make a list of everything they've overlooked or what will emerge. These items, by definition, are unknown. However, there are techniques the team can use to roughly estimate the size of an unknown backlog, including calculating a buffer size. I don't ever recommend a buffer size, though. What I do is I do the 80-20 rule, which is what you're talking about next here. And what I do is I allot 20% of the allocated points for unknown work, and that's my yellow light inside of the red light, green light report. The yellow light associates to 20%, and that helps the team members have a little bit of a cushion, but not necessarily a padding, because we still have items of work there, but it's just known that if new work gets introduced, some work that's in green may go to yellow, some work that's in yellow will go to red. And that means that the yellow is going to shrink every single sprint until it goes from 60-40, which is where I usually start it, to 65-35, 70-30, right, 80-20, 85-15. And I do that over the course of sprints until it shrinks down so the yellow is nothing. So I just divide the yellow into the number of sprints, and it makes sense. So not all teams need to create estimates and long-term plans. Some teams are simply instructed to deliver new capabilities and achieve outcomes as quickly as possible. This sounds like a Kanban team. In the majority of organizations, however, some degree of agile planning and predictability is still important. This may be to enable coordination with partners, to train users, to coordinate marketing efforts, or more. In a private company, plans feature prominently in the company's ability to acquire funding. In a public company, plans influence guidance given to shareholders and investors. For physical products, plans influence manufacturing and shipping commitments. If creating reliable plans, stakeholders can trust is important to you, consider participating in an accurate agile planning workshop. These are things that you can do just to get your head around it. And I can tell you, Mike's got some amazing workshops. I personally have seen some of the things he's delivered, and they're absolutely incredible. And I can tell you firsthand that we are very much in the same vein when it comes to these things. So if you've attended any of my product owner classes, or if you want to learn more about the red light, green light report, or if you have a topic you want us to discuss, reach out to me at learnmore@agiledad.com. I'd love to help you. Mike, as always, I love receiving emails from you each week. Thank you so much for continuing to send them. And as always, we encourage you to stay healthy, stay well, and stay agile, my friends. Until next time, do take care.